All right, I think we are live. I'm going to give it a couple of seconds so I can see that confirmation on my screen because of the stream delay. But yeah, I have been looking forward to this. When I've done live streams in the past, I've always been presenting something. And then I have so many questions come in through the chat that I end up spending more time on that than the thing that I'm actually trying to present. And so now finally I'm doing a stream where it is just focused on you guys. And yeah, I'm just going to spend the entire time talking to y'all in the chat. So that's what's going on. And this is a celebration of the launch of the Dynamous AI Mastery community. So obviously everything that we do here, I'll answer any questions that you have at all, but kind of just is in celebration of the community launch. So I guess before I get into looking at any comments here, I'll just show you guys this. Let me share my screen. I have to get used to using all my different monitors here. I don't stream too often, so yeah, this is like the fourth time I've ever streamed on my channel. But yeah, let me see if you guys can see this. Okay. Yeah, I think we're looking good here. Yeah. So this is Dynamis. Hopefully a lot of you guys have already seen what this is all about. But it's the community that I just launched this morning. Like literally an hour ago this morning, I opened up the community. And so actually, let me refresh. This is outdated. There we go. All right. Because we had the wait list and then I just closed that down. But now we have the community launched here. And if you joined on the wait list, I gave you a founding member offer so that you can join as kind of one of the early adopters to the community. But as a special for you guys in this live stream, I have that offer for you. And so this is going to go away at the very end of the live stream. But there's still a chance to get in on the community early right now. So that's what's going on. There's so much that I'm offering as a part of this community. So I'll talk more about that later. Right now, I just want to get in the chat with you guys here. But I'll cover more what this is about in a bit. But I don't want to make that like the biggest focus of this here. So let me go back to my face here. And let me go ahead and start pulling up some comments here. So I have all of the chats on the left-hand side on my screen. And I can click on any one of them to pop them up here. I think this is the second time that I've done this on a live stream before, where I have all of this fanciness set up with the chat on the right side and then the comments that I can show on the left side. So I'm still kind of new, getting used to using this. But yeah, it's this thing called, what is it called? Yeah, Social Stream Ninja is the name of the software. If you're curious, it's just a Chrome extension that you install. That's what made this all possible here. If you're into live streaming yourself, I'm very open. I mean, I'm an open source guy, so I talk about everything that I use for my videos as well. But yeah, let me go ahead and start pulling up some messages here because I'm just here to answer like any questions that you guys have. Like this is just going to be a chill time of whatever we want to talk about. I've got nothing to present today, and I have no agenda, like very much on purpose. So yeah, let me scroll down, kind of get to where we are here. Oh yeah, there's a question that came in like a couple minutes before I started the live stream that I was saving for this. How do you stay up to date with all the new AI technology releases? And honestly, YouTube is my primary source. Like not only do I post a ton on YouTube, I also follow a lot of channels like Matthew Berman, Matt Wolf, for example. They're not like technical like me, giving tutorials on how to do things with AI, but they cover all the latest news. So I follow them a lot. And then also, I have a lot of curated news sources that I watch constantly. I've got like a bunch that are set up in my Google Chrome. Like, when I open it on my phone, I can just see all the latest articles from the sources that I follow. So that's another thing that I do. And then also because I'm so active, like replying to literally every email and comment on my YouTube channel, any LinkedIn message, like I'm constantly having conversations with people that are curious about a specific new framework or a new LLM. They want me to maybe make a video on it. And so because I'm talking to people constantly, that also helps me stay up to date. Like if there's anything new that's worth covering, somebody's asking me to do it. So that certainly helps as well. But yeah, good question. So yeah, let me keep going here. I'm competing with a sneakers app. Okay, I guess there's another live stream going on right now. Well, I appreciate the heads up. I hope that doesn't prevent too many people from joining here. What do we got right now? We have 150 people about watching, which that's pretty solid. Thanks for everyone for being here. Like this is a super exciting morning for me. I'm gonna be totally honest. I basically pulled an all-nighter last night, getting everything ready for the launch of the Dynamous community. Because man, I was just so excited. I am still so excited. I really couldn't sleep, and there's just so much to do to like make everything perfect for you. So, yeah, I'm going on like barely any sleep right now. I crashed a little bit last night, but almost an all-nighter. So yeah, it's an exciting time for sure. Yeah. See, following your channel for months, I expect a great Google ADK framework breakdown. Yeah, I've looked at the Google's ADK, and it seems pretty impressive. I think that it's missing a couple of things. I feel like they still have some work to do. Like they released it a little early, but it does look impressive. And so I am planning on covering it pretty soon. I already covered the A2A framework that Google released. I did that like a week or two ago. So yeah, Google's putting out some good stuff. So I definitely am looking into ADK. They're doing a lot of things that other frameworks don't do, like the way that they're just like they have things built in for monitoring agents, for example, that you don't really see with other frameworks. So it seems pretty powerful. Yeah, thank you for the kind words, everyone. I appreciate it. Let's see. Just got a Dynamous email, but the link doesn't work. Okay, that is unfortunate. Well, okay, it's working for a lot of people, so I'm not too sure why it wouldn't be working for you. Um, Maybe because there's like a redirect setup. Like it's not a direct link. It goes through my platform where I'm sending the email broadcast, and maybe there's something with your browser or an extension that you have that's blocking it. I'm not totally sure. However, if you just go to dynamous.ai, like here, I'll just type it in the chat right now for you guys. If you just go to dynamous.ai, then I have a link there for the special offer that I have just for this live stream. It's the same discount as the founding member from when you join the waitlist. And so you can definitely go there if you are interested in joining. And the link doesn't work on the email, that it should work from the site at least. But yeah, I appreciate you guys letting me know. Some others in the comments that that's working for you. I'm glad. That would be so bad if the link was just broken for everyone. Like, oh, that'd be the worst case scenario. And trust me, like I have all those things going through my mind when I'm prepping for this launch. Like, oh, what if the link doesn't work, or what if something breaks in the platform, or what if the videos stop working for the course? Like, there's so many things that could go wrong. So, yeah, I've had those thoughts go through my mind, but I'm glad the link is working for most of you at least. Um, yeah, yeah, and thank you guys. I really appreciate the kind words here. Wow. Yeah. Just yeah. Thank you very much, guys. Let's see. We got a question here. Can you explain how Manus works? How to make a platform like Manus? So Manus is not open source. So we don't exactly know how it works under the hood. There are open source versions of it though, like Open Manus, very creatively called just Open Manus. So you can look into the underbelly of it. It's not necessarily the same as Manus. They are just replicating the capabilities that the agent has. And I haven't done a huge deep dive, to be honest. So I don't know exactly how it works under the hood. I think that Manus was kind of one of those things where there was a lot of hype for it at first, and then it died down when people realized that it wasn't really that revolutionary. I mean, we had something like Open Manus come out just a week later that had a lot of that functionality as open source, and so that's why I haven't focused on it too much myself. I haven't dove into it. In fact, I'm gonna kind of like transition back and forth from sharing my screen and stuff throughout here just to like explain things to you guys. So let me do that again, and I'll show you. If you go to the Google Trends, and you can search for anything to see like how much people have searched for it over time, and you just search for Manus. Take a look at this. I've shown this in my YouTube videos before, actually, but you can kind of tell when something is just a hype train and when it's like really useful just based on how much people search for it and like how much that falls off. So if you take a look at Manus, we had a huge boom at the beginning of March, people super interested in it, and then it just died down super fast. But if you compare that to something like Claude's or Anthropic's Model Context Protocol, you can see that it's a lot different. Like instead of it dying over time, I mean, it's kind of grown stagnant over the past month, just kind of like a very level amount of interest over the last month, but it's not dying down like Manus. And so Yeah, that's just a quick little thing just to show you what I mean by some things are more hype and others aren't. So I hope that makes sense. It's a cool technology. Like, don't get me wrong. I just think that it was kind of blown out of proportion as far as how revolutionary it was. So yeah. What's the best way to create an agent that can interact with each other? I want to create an agent who can perform research based on my knowledge base. So if you're talking about implementing a multi-agent architecture, my favorite framework for that is called LangGraph. And you don't have to use a framework, you don't have to use LangGraph, but it sets up this tooling for you to create these different agents that can be built with whatever framework you want, like Pydantic AI or Crew AI or no framework at all. And you can connect them together in nodes that you have set up in this graph. So you can have this global state that's managed. All of the different agents can then use that state so that they can work together and communicate things together, because you can pass any part of that agent state into the prompt for the next LLM that you have in your execution, and they can reason back and forth between each other as well, because it's set up as a graph where you can have those kind of loops. So that would be my general recommendation for that. And actually, the chat is going so fast here that I'm kind of like losing some of the messages at the top, which is really unfortunate. Um, so maybe I'll have to speed up a little bit here. Um, yeah, someone asked if I checked out Google's agent framework. Yes, I have. And I talked about that like 10 minutes ago. So maybe you weren't joined in the stream at that point, but I think it's worth looking into. And I am planning on making a video on the ADK pretty soon here. Definitely worth covering. Tutorial on LangGraph. So this is a good chance to talk about Dynamous really quick. So let me transition back and we'll cover this really quickly here. So within the Dynamous community, one of the big components of it is a course that I'm releasing. That's all about mastering building AI agents from start to finish. Let me zoom in a little bit here. And one of the technologies that I do cover in the course is LangGraph, and that is in a module that's not released quite yet. And so that is coming soon, but that is going to be a core component of this course, is showing you first how to build single AI agents and adding in all the different components like system prompts and tools and all of that. And then in a later module for a more advanced topic, it's using LangGraph to build multi-agent workflows. And so I will be covering that very heavily in a dedicated module focused on using LangGraph. And then the kind of things that you learn from using LangGraph can really apply to building multi-agent workflows in any way that you want. So I do focus on the higher level capabilities so you aren't just like stuck to using LangGraph as well. So if that's interesting to you and you just want to learn the full process from start to finish on how to build AI agents effectively, then yeah, you can check out Dynamous.ai and you can get access to the course immediately. Like, it's available right now. The first 4 modules are available. So yeah, that is Dynamous. I'll keep referencing it once in a while because I think it will apply to a lot of the questions that you guys have. But yeah, thanks for doing this today. You are very, very welcome. Good luck with the launch from the Netherlands. I appreciate it, Mark. Thank you very much. What do you think Google has in store for us this year? That is a good question. They've already been releasing a lot. I think they're clearly very focused on agents with their ADK, their agent development kit for Python, and then also A2A, which is their protocol that enables communication between agents. You kind of set up these agents as API endpoints that can connect to each other and learn what each other are capable of doing. And I'm hoping that Google is going to keep honing in on that. I think that the A2A protocol specifically is very revolutionary. I mean, their agent development kit is cool, but there's not a huge reason in my mind to use it over other frameworks like Pydantic AI right now. But A2A is definitely brand new. So I hope what Google has for us is more of that. And then I'm sure at some point we'll get Gemini 3 this year. That'll be really cool because Gemini 2.5 Pro is an absolute beast of an LLM overall. Very fast, and it's a reasoning LLM, and it has massive context length. So yeah, I think they're starting to become more and more dominant in the LLM race overall. Because even like half a year ago, they were nothing compared to Anthropic and OpenAI for GPT and Claude and O1 and all those models. So yeah, I think we'll see a lot with them. Email to ask more questions. So my email is just, I don't know if I want to say it live on the stream and just announce it to everyone, but you can just go to my bio in YouTube and you can view my business email and reach out to me there. And just like I reply to basically every email, or sorry, I reply to basically every YouTube comment. I reply to basically every email as well. So yeah, I'm a very, very responsive person. So feel free to check that out and email me. Let's see here. Have you ever tried to combine classic rag that I do in Supabase with the graph rag like Neo4j? Very, very good question. I kind of have, because I did something like that with light rag. So light rag is a knowledge graph implementation that also does traditional rag, like what I'm doing with Supabase generally in my YouTube content. And so one thing that I'm playing around with is using light rag, but hooking into Supabase for the traditional rag and then Neo4j for the knowledge graph. And yeah, I think I'm going to cover that in a video soon on my channel as well. Because I did an introductory video to LightRag, but I wasn't using Neo4j or Supabase. I just had the local version of LightRag where it creates these JSON files for the vector database and the knowledge graph, which is pretty slow and not as powerful. But I just wanted to give a more basic introduction to the framework. And so, yeah, definitely it's worth covering, evolving that to using Supabase and Neo4j. And then a spoiler, one of the next things that I want to add to the local AI package is Neo4j for knowledge graphs, because it is completely open source and pretty easy to self-host. So I think that'll be a good addition to the package as well, because I'm going to keep adding more and more things. Like I added LangFuse recently to the local AI package for agent observability. It's a LLM engineering platform that I covered actually in the last video on my channel. So yeah, good question. What is your advice for a CS student who just started to learn coding in this AI era? Yeah, very, very good question. So, wow, there's so many messages here in the chat. So I'm going to try to go a little bit faster here. But yeah, I really want to answer all these questions. So what I'll say for this, a lot of people are very doom and gloom right now about CS degrees in general, like just focusing on learning how to code because they think AI is going to do so much. Okay, here's the biggest thing that I have to say with this though. When you are a software engineer, you are doing a lot more than coding. And what you learn getting a CS degree, I mean, I have a bachelor's in computer science from the University of Minnesota, if anyone is curious. And you learn a lot more than just how to code. You learn about the full process of software engineering, the whole development life cycle, and how to architect solutions well and document them well, how to work with stakeholders to figure out requirements, the kind of things that you can synthesize and give to an AI coding assistant to help, but you never want to trust it entirely, and it can't take care of every component of software engineering because coding is only one small part to that. And so my advice to you is to not fall into the doom and gloom, essentially, and learn how to use AI coding assistants. Because even if you are going down the path of being more technical, like I am, I still think that it's still good to use them to speed up the development. Because one thing that people like to say a lot that I think is true is that AI coding assistants can do the first 90% for you. And then it's your job to do the last 10%, to fix the hallucinations that the AI coding assistant will inevitably have, and then just to productionize the application, deploy it, maintain it, and work on making it more refactorable, because AI coding systems don't always do that the best. So it's still really worth learning all the really technical stuff, but you want to leverage them as well. And don't just leave that for the vibe coders. Like you don't want to vibe code, but you want to still use these AI coding assistants as long as you can understand what they output and really validate that code for yourself. So yeah, that's what I would say. I would say that like getting a computer science degree is still a good idea. It's not as tempting as it was like 4 years ago or 5 years ago when like everyone was doing that, but I think it's still powerful, especially if you have what it takes to, leverage AI effectively in what you're doing. Favorite news sources? Good question. So YouTube channels, definitely, like Matthew Berman, for example. I think he covers things really well for all the latest stuff that's going on, both with like new large language models, but also with just like general AI news. And then as far as when new AI agent frameworks come out, usually the way that I keep track of those is I just wait for the announcements from those companies and I just read through the documentation. So there's more like the technical things that I care about, like local LLMs. I don't see people track as much or share as much about. And so generally my news source for more of the technical things like new frameworks and tools and LLMs, like local LLMs, I just I just take advantage of the fact that people are telling me about these all the time, like YouTube comments and emails and things. And so that's one of the benefits of the Dynamis community as well, is that we'll constantly be having conversations about new technologies that are being released and keeping each other up to date on things. And that's something that I'm going to be sharing a lot as well within the community, is when I'm exploring new local LLMs or there's a new framework that I'm trying out for building agents. Like I'll be talking about all of that and really keeping like an up-to-date list of resources there of what I've been trying out and liking. So yeah. Got a question. What's a good setup for using RAG in private companies that you'd recommend, locally or otherwise? So yeah, good question. It is a little general though. But I have covered a lot on my channel the whole concept of agentic RAG, which is basically giving your agents the ability to reason about how they want to look at your knowledge base instead of just doing one lookup in your knowledge base with RAG and then giving that context to the LLM and not letting it do anything more on top of that. And when in my channel, I talk about using both local AI and what I call cloud AI for this agentic RAG setup. And so I've done that both in N8N and with Pydantic AI. So if you're curious, either way, like if you want to use a no-code tool or code, I have you covered on my channel. And I don't want to go and like link to those videos right now because I don't want to take the time and go and find those for you, but you can find them pretty easily. When I talk about RAG in more recent videos on my channel, a lot of that is covering agentic RAG, which would be my general recommendation. Yeah. So yeah, let me know if you have any specific questions related to that too. Yeah, man, wow, there's so many comments here. Okay, next question from Tim. Thanks, this is a good question. What kind of content are you providing to the community? What level of detail do you get into? So yeah, I'll show you guys quick. I'll just use this as an opportunity just to like talk a little bit more about the course really quickly here. So I'll go into the community itself. So this is the Dynamis community here. And we've got courses, live events, and workshops where I'll build out agents in real time with you. And we've got the community section for everyone to network together. And there's even an opportunity to vote on the different topics that I cover in my channel. So you guys get to actually help decide for me what I focus on in this community, what we focus on together. And yeah, a lot of templates and resources as well that I'll just kind of tease really quickly here. So yeah, a lot that's available for you guys. And then for the course specifically, let me just show you the lessons really quickly, just to give you a sense of what we really dive into in this course. And so the AI Agent Mastery course is the first one that I'm putting out in the Dynamous community. And it's all about building AI agents from start to finish. And so I cover what makes up an AI agent, why we want to build our own agents in Module 1, that kind of thing. Module 2 gets into the general structure, like how I build my agents and what my process looks like, and then what it looks like to plan our agent and pick all the different LLMs and databases and services that we want to use. And then Module 3 is basically an N8N masterclass. I show you how to prototype AI agents in N8N so you can create that initial version very quickly. And the agent that I build within the course specifically, I've designed to include a lot of the different components that you're going to want to use in your agents no matter what you are building, like agentic RAG, long-term memory, being able to execute code to perform like more data analytics type stuff. So I have all of those different tools added to this agent. And then in the fourth module, that's the last one that I have for the launch of the Dynamous community, I go into coding our AI agent with Pydantic AI as the framework. And then also covering how to use AI coding assistants to build our agents effectively. Because like I said earlier, I don't think vibe coding is a good idea. Like you still should be able to understand the code and validate the code that's created by the AI coding assistant, but it's still good to really speed up your development and be able to iterate faster on your agent. And so I cover all of that. And then everything that I build in this course is templates that are available for you to download and just steal for yourself, take components for your own agents. And I get into excruciating detail with everything here. So you can really understand both my thought process for how I go about building agents, and also so you can understand under the hood how all these different tools work for things like agentic RAG. So yeah, that's just a quick little spiel there on the what I cover in the course, and so I hope that helps you understand the kind of value that I'm providing, and then a lot of different specific use cases that I'll build out in the live events and workshops as well. All right, let's see. How to fine-tune models without unsloth AI. That's a pretty loaded question. I am planning on covering fine-tuning pretty soon, so I think I'll leave that one for now. I think unsloth is a good solution though, so I'm curious why you wouldn't want to use it. Maybe you could follow up and let me know. Yeah, but it's a good question. Let's see here. Okay, so overview of the course. Well, kind of just gave you that just now, so I hope that's helpful. And then the other thing that I want to say with that is I am planning on releasing other courses throughout the year to go along with the AI Agent Mastery course. So I want to create a course specifically for local AI, one specifically for RAG and building knowledge-based AI agents. And then the third course that I want to release this year, on top of the AI Agent Mastery course, is one specifically for building out real world use cases. So kind of taking the AI Agent Mastery course, using everything that we learn there to then build out different agents so that you can see a lot of examples being built out in a really structured format. So that's the plan for the courses. Let's see, I'm using the template you posted. When I run the workflow in NAN, I can see on Supabase the metadata tables, but the document table doesn't seem to update. Yeah, I don't know if I want to do like a troubleshooting session on our Q&A stream here. I really wish I could help right now, but I think for something really specific like that, you could definitely feel free to reach out to me separately. So yeah, it'd be kind of hard to get into that right now. I hope you can understand. Yeah, good to see you live streaming again. I appreciate it very much, man. In this era, we need agents to search for AI news. Yes, that is true. And there are some things that I built under the hood to help curate the data sources with agents and having them kind of sift through information for me. So that definitely would be another good video or like a workshop in the Dynamous community, something like that. Because I think that being able to use agents to aggregate information for you, not just news, but just any kind of information, like documentation, for example, is super, super powerful. Just signed up for the community, really excited. Thank you, David. I'm excited to have you in the community. Yeah, best offline LLM to use for N8N. So my favorite LLM, local LLM right now, is Mistral 3.1 small. It's a 24 billion parameter model, so you'll have to have a relatively powerful GPU, but nothing too crazy to run it, especially if you go with a quantized version of Mistral 3.1 small. That is definitely my favorite right now. Let's see. King of content. I appreciate it very much. Favorite news sources? I feel like I answered this question already. It might be a repeat. I definitely did. Let's see. Have you thought about updating your AI agents masterclass on YouTube? Lessons are outdated. Yeah, so that's the very first repository I ever created for my channel. And yeah, I totally recognize that it's outdated at this point. And that's my bad, but it's really, really difficult. Like, I'm going to be totally honest with you. That content from so long ago, like August, September of last year, it's hard to go back to that and keep that constantly updated. Because there's so many new repositories that I'm working on now for open source projects like Archon and the local AI package, which are just so crucial to me, that it's hard to go back to those. And also, a lot of the things that I've implemented in those videos, I feel like I just have better processes now. And so a lot of that content, I've now covered similar, better things more recently. Like I used to focus on LangChain a lot for my AI agent framework, and now I'm doing Pydantic AI. I don't want to be that person that's just stuck to some old thing. And so I move on, and I guess the repository kind of loses some of its I guess, reason for me to keep it super, super up to date. So in a perfect world, I'd definitely be keeping that updated and making sure that all the examples are working well. But yeah, I mean, the time's a factor as well. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate you calling that out for sure, because I know there definitely is an opportunity there. Yeah. Realize your background isn't actually real. Yeah, how do you know? Maybe it's because there's a little bit of glitches like with my microphone here. But yes, it is a virtual background, and I use a platform called NVIDIA Broadcast. that comes default. Like you can just install that for any NVIDIA GPU that you have in your machine. And so that is what provides a virtual background for me. And it's pretty awesome. Like there's not that much glitchiness when I move around, especially with my head. It's pretty good. I mean, there's like a little bit of an issue sometimes with like the hairline right here, but yeah, otherwise it's super solid. Thank you, Fred. Looking forward to having you in the Dynamous community. Um, let's see here. Love that grind. Thank you, Cody. I appreciate it. World of AI is also good for up-to-date info. Yes, yes, that is another really good channel. So there are some channels that are super focused on showing new tools or frameworks, like World of AI, and then the AI Code King is another one. And sometimes the content from those channels feels a little bit generic. Like they post so often that they cover like anything and everything, even things that maybe aren't actually that big of a deal. So that'd be my only critique, but I still think it's a super valuable channel overall. And actually, World of AI has covered Archon and Bolt.diy before, so I really appreciate him for that, and like also for most of his videos. Like, yeah, it's definitely things that you want to pay attention to for new tools and frameworks, and he covers new like AI IDEs and things like that as well. So certainly another good channel. Um, Greetings, Chili. Cool. All right. Thanks for what you share. Appreciate it very much. You are welcome. What kind of support do you see yourself needing in the future with your community? That is a really good question. I appreciate it a lot. The main thing is just going to be I want to make sure that everyone is very active and engaged in the community. And so that's going to put a lot on me to make sure that I'm always engaging with people, just to keep that up. And so any help for that, just being really active in the community and talking to people, sharing ideas and helping me answer all the questions that are going to be there. I mean, that's going to be super valuable to me. And so any help that you're able to provide, because I know people like you, man. I mean, you have some expertise there. Like I saw your introduction in the community earlier, talking about everything that you're doing with voice AI agents and your experience with that. Like that is super cool. I mean, you know way more about voice AI than me. I can already tell you that. So just being able to answer questions and things like that is the huge support for me. Love your stuff. I appreciate it, Brandon. Thank you very much. Worked as an independent consultant, used whatever tools I wanted in corporate jobs. There's no way I could approach things with the tools you do. Um, yeah, that's something I've actually I was in corporate America until last year, and so I know what you're talking about. Where there's a lot of corporate red tape. You have ideas for things you want to implement, like, oh, let me create an agent that can help answer questions in our Confluence documentation, or help us manage our tasks in Jira, like using all those more corporate-y tools. And yeah, you can't like there's no way that you're going to get the approval to build out those kind of things. So I know your pain. But yeah, it's nice like my role right now, or yeah, like operating as an independent consultant, you can use whatever you want, and you don't have that red tape that's stopping you. That is really nice. LangChain versus Llama Index. My recommendation would be Pydantic AI. I cover that on my channel all the time. It's very similar to both. I think that Llama Index might be a bit. There's a reason to use Llama Index if you have a very knowledge-focused agent, because it's a framework meant more for creating like RAG-based agents. But yeah, in general, I do like Pydantic AI more. If I had to pick between Llama Index and LangChain, though, I would say Llama Index, because there's more cases where it's, I would say, a better framework overall. Recommend a core tool set to support coursework, ideally something self-hosted. I think you'd have to clarify a bit more for me what you mean by supporting coursework. So let me know, and hopefully I'll get back down to that question for you if you clarify for me. Let's see here. What are your thoughts about doing these work in environments where there's less freedom for tool choice, or at least it's a lot slower with approval? Yeah, so kind of going back to what you were saying earlier there, Brandon. Um, it's kind of hard to answer that question though, because a lot of it just depends on what your company is currently using. Like for example, my old job, we were relying very, very heavily on AWS. That was our cloud provider. So we had, like EC2 instances and S3 buckets. And so when we got into using generative AI, it was a lot of working with AWS Bedrock. And so I was very limited to any kind of proof of concepts that I was doing within the company. I was using AWS Bedrock as my way to get access to LLMs like Claude 3, Sonnet, and Opus at the time, because this was way last year. And so really, it just comes down to you're going to be forced to use certain tools that might not quite be ideal, but that's just what the company supports, like based on what they're already using, like the cloud provider or whatever they're already using. And so just, I mean, you kind of have to work with that. Um, so I hope that makes sense. And let me know if you have anything more specific on that as well. Let's see. Is there a way to connect audio input to N8N? There is. There's a lot of good content on YouTube for this. I haven't covered that myself though, but if you just search, like people cover building a like Jarvis in N8N, which is like a agent that can do a lot of different things, kind of as a personal assistant that you can talk into in a front end. Like Nate Herc, his YouTube channel, he covered that. So I would definitely search for that. There's some good resources there, for sure. Have you used or seen the Google agent space? So I've seen it a little bit, but I haven't taken the time to look into it too much. Specifically because, at least from what I saw, you're kind of vendor locked. Like if you use the Google agent space, you are building an agent that's stuck in that platform, only being able to use the integrations that they support. And in general, I mean, you guys all see this on my channel. I'm very much more for the kind of tools and frameworks that allow you to build in a way where you control the solution and you get to pick the integrations and you're not locked into any specific vendor, which is especially why I focus on very much open source tooling. And so that's why I'm not super interested in things like Agent Space, or if you look at things like Salesforce, they have Agent Force, but you're building agents in their platform and you're stuck in their platform. And we see that with a lot of other things like MindPal or Relevance AI. That's kind of the big reason that I don't focus on those in general. But I do think that platforms like this are important for enterprise adoption. Kind of like what I was saying earlier. A lot of times, if you're working for a company, like you have this enterprise that's already using AWS for their cloud provider, or they're using Azure for their cloud provider, then when someone like Amazon or Microsoft releases something like Agent Space, then you're more likely to be able to operate in that environment because that provider is already ingrained within the corporation. And so I think that there's a place for that. But if you have the freedom to build with the tools that give you complete control and you're not locked into any vendor, I generally prefer that. Even with agents scraping the internet, we don't have time for all the information. Yes, I definitely feel that every single day. There is way too many things I wish I could look into, and sometimes I just have to block things out of my mind because it's like I do not have the time to look into this. Like agent space, like we were just talking about. That's the kind of thing where, yeah, even though I just told you why I don't really want to look into it too much, I wish I could. I definitely do because there's reasons to use any new technology that's coming out for the most part. So, yeah, that's very, very true. Um, Oh wow. Yeah, I just realized that I am still okay. So right now it is 9:37 my time, and I'm still looking at comments from 9:06. Wow. Okay. I might have to do something a little bit differently here because I thought I was going like pretty fast, but it's actually crazy how. Wow. Okay. Dang. Wow, I appreciate you guys a lot. Like all of you guys being here and asking all these really good questions. Like thank you very much. And wow, I wish that maybe I'll have to start doing a live stream like every week because these questions you guys have are all so good and there's so many of them. Like my software is cut off here and I can only see messages up to 9:11 for some reason. So I'm gonna have to refresh my page and I might lose some. Really unfortunate, but wow, I really appreciate all you guys and your really good questions. Um, Man, there are so many comments. Thank you guys very much. Okay, I'm gonna refresh my page, and I hope I don't lose much here. Yeah, I lost everything. Oh man. Okay, I'm gonna start blasting through some comments. I think in a different way. Wow, this is crazy. Okay. Wow. Okay, I see what happened. So the problem is I had my chat window that wasn't scrolling down automatically when new messages came in. That's why I wasn't able to see all the latest messages, but I see them all now. I did lose a lot of questions from around like 9:10 to 9:20 though, so I'm really sorry guys. But man, there is just so much here. One thing that I thought about doing, I don't know how easy it is to pull this off, Um, yeah, people, I need AI to help me answer all these questions. That's literally what I was just about to say. Is that here? Let me see if I can need AI to analyze the comments. Like I do need something like this. Man, because or I could build. So okay, here's what I thought about building before, and I don't know how easy it would be to like really make this like actually work well. But if I could create an AI agent that's kind of like a knowledge base of everything that I know, so that you can basically have a conversation with me, but it's not actually me. So I can scale my advice and expertise that I share on my channel, that I give to everybody freely, and that I wish I could answer every single question right now, but it would like take 4 hours to do that. Um, yeah, so if I had some sort of agent that could like share my knowledge, I just don't know if I could trust that. I don't know if I would trust that to really represent me. That's the big problem that I have. Um, yeah, yeah, I'm gonna. You're doing great. Just testament how much you've inspired. Yeah, I appreciate it, Joseph, and yeah, I hope that that really is the case. I so wish that I could, um, man, that I could hit on everything here. Yeah, I need a person who helps with all the questions. I think what I'll have to do. Yeah, so yeah, Tim said Tony Robbins has made one like that. I know people have made things like this, and people claim that that they've been able to make things like this. I guess what makes me nervous is specifically just like how technical a lot of these questions are for me. Um, like if you have someone like Tony Robbins or Alex Ramosi or Dan Martell that are, I don't want to say that they're not like super in-depth questions that they get, but like a lot of it is more like higher level like business decisions, and I feel like agents might be better at answering that than like really technical things like why is my N8N workflow not inserting into the documents table, you know, like that kind of thing. I just don't know. But yeah, I think about that constantly. I think that honestly, um, that would be like, that would be a big deal. If I was to make a way to like just have an agent out there for all you guys to talk with, that would be so cool. Um, yeah, and thank you so much for your donation. I appreciate it a lot, David. Thank you very much. And yeah, I'm seeing some of your comments here with you guys. Like, yeah, like being online, even answering 10 questions from the 100 is extremely fine. Just have a nice time. I appreciate it very much. That definitely helps because I certainly feel a lot of pressure right now to just like try to get through everything. Yeah, I guess I should have expected this though, because like when I presented things in my other live streams, I got so many questions that I was trying to just focus on the questions for most of the stream. But now it's like that I'm dedicating to just questions. There's 10 times as many, so I should have expected that. Um, yeah. But wow, there's even more donations. So yeah, thank you, David, very much for yet another donation. Thoughts on Contact 7. So I mean, if you're gonna give a donation, like obviously I appreciate it very much. I will focus on those questions for sure. Contact 7, I covered two videos ago on my channel. It's a very, I would say, experimental framework. It's kind of weird, almost like how many new frameworks and tools are being added as documentation in Context 7. Like it's kind of dangerous that basically anybody can just have it scrape documentation and add it to the Context 7 knowledge base. So but like that being said though, it's a very powerful tool. And I think having that kind of more general RAG knowledge base that you can just hook into any AI coding assistant with MCP is certainly the future. And something that I'm curious about building out is actually something like Context 7, but that you can run yourself locally, and using something like Crawl 4 AI that I've covered on my channel before to create that documentation. I just want to mimic what Context 7 does, where they're able to really organize the documentation well. The way that they create the chunks for the different examples for things like Supabase or Next.js or MCP, whatever, is just so powerful. And that's what I think makes them so special. So yeah, I would definitely want to make something like that, but that you can run locally. Because right now, Context 7 is in this weird place where it's free right now, but you can kind of tell that they're going to monetize it at some point. I mean, like that's the catch right now. But it is really, really cool. So yeah, what else do we got here? Another donation. Thank you very much for the donation. I built the Archon Google ADK version. I use Archon as a base. Yes, if you make a pull request to give the support for coding with the Google ADK and Archon, I will certainly take a look. And I will say that because I've been so busy with the Dynamous launch right now, I haven't gotten to put the attention I want into Archon recently, especially because I've been focusing a lot on the local AI package, and I kind of I kind of swap between them right now. Sorry, there's like a glitch in my camera for a brief moment there. But yeah, I swap between the local AI package and Archon and building content around both on my channel. So I do want to focus more on Archon again soon. But yeah, this would be a super awesome pull request for sure. So yeah, I would appreciate that a lot. Another donation. Thank you very much, Mr. Frank. Making an agent for work. Is Pipe Ream good for integrations? Lindy said they use it. You've actually caught me off guard here. I have not heard of Pipe Ream before. I'm really sorry. Like, okay, like I said, I have so many conversations with people constantly in YouTube and the community forums and over email. Like I usually hear about most things, but I have not heard of Pipe Ream. So hopefully someone else in the chat could chime in and maybe share if they've heard of it before. But I'm not going to try to BS something on the spot. Like I'm just going to be totally honest. I haven't actually heard of it. So I wouldn't be able to help you there. But my general recommendation for using platforms in general that are like a third party managed service is just be careful about vendor lock-in. Like you don't want to be stuck with them forever. That's why I typically prefer open source tools where I can host it myself. I know how it works under the hood. I know how I can transition out of it if I want to. I'm not stuck into their platform. So that would be generally what I would say. And yeah, a lot of continued support for what I just shared. I'm feeling overall with all the comments. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it a lot. Yeah, can we talk about Archon? Yeah, so I kind of just talked about it. Like it's something that I want to be focusing on a lot more pretty soon here. Especially once I launch the Dynamous community, I'll definitely be in a better place where I'll actually have some time. Because like I shared earlier, I pulled an all-nighter. Yeah, someone just mentioned that, Cody. Thanks for mentioning that again, Cody. You pulled an all-nighter. Stop worrying about all the questions and just have fun. You're killing it. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, so I'm busy enough where I actually pulled my first ever all-nighter. Never done it before in my entire life, even in college, believe it or not. I feel like a lot of people that got computer science degrees in college like pulled all-nighters constantly, but I always finished all my homework by 10 p.m. So yeah, but I did that for the first time. I slept a little bit, so I guess it wasn't quite an all-nighter. But anyway, once I have some more capacity, which I'm looking to have, then I'm definitely going to be focusing a lot more on Archon because I got a lot of insane ideas for it. And even thinking about how I can integrate it more natively with MCP, build in things like Context 7 just to make it more of a general RAG agent that you can run locally. I have a lot of ideas for that. And that's yet another reason why I am delaying things with Archon a little bit because I'm just trying to think about like how do I want to build this out going forward. I don't want to be that person that has an idea for something and then sticks to it even when it makes sense to do something else because we have new technologies that become available to us or new ideas that are inspired by things like Context 7. Like I want to be able to adapt and sometimes I need to take a step back and think about how I would do that for something like Archon. So yeah, trust me, I think about it every day. Like what does the future really look like? I want to evolve it effectively and not just be stuck on my path. Like I share the vision for Archon and what I want to do in future iterations, but I preface that with like I might be changing those all the time. And right now I think there's a good opportunity to take a different approach with Archon and make it more of like a general knowledge agent instead of like super focused on an agentic workflow for building agents with specific frameworks like Pydantic AI. So yeah, a lot more coming on it soon, but yeah, I mean, I'm having a blast building Archon, and I have had a blast building it. Like it's probably my favorite project besides the local AI package, because the local AI package to me is just like so practical for getting all your services to actually have like data privacy when you build your AI applications. So I like that a lot. But yeah, Archon is definitely a close second, and it's probably more exciting in general for you guys, and I can tell. But yeah, I mean, I get it for sure. Yeah, actually, someone mentioned that. Your local AI package is awesome. Have you thought about making it more production ready for enterprise? Yes, I've definitely thought about that a lot. In fact, I feel like I could literally create a SaaS just around getting the local AI package up and running for enterprises. And I've had people reach out to me for that before, specifically with the local AI package. And to be honest, I've had to just decline because like decline the opportunity just because of how many different things I have going on, and I want to keep really focusing on my channel for you guys and now the Dynamous community as well. But like yeah, I've thought about that a lot, and there's definitely an opportunity there. Which I mean, I feel like this kind of goes without saying, but I'll just say it here. Like you guys could take that and run with it as well. Like the local AI package is completely open source. You guys have an opportunity to use that and help enterprises implement local AI into what they're doing. So yeah, I think there's a big opportunity there. Um, Pipe Dream. Mr. Frank, thank you again for the donation. I think you did say Pipe Dream before though, yeah, I don't know. Okay, Pipe Dream. Let me pull up the other. Pipe Dream has 2,500 MCP servers. All right, I appreciate the donations. I'm gonna pull this up for you right now. Let me do this quick. I'm gonna pull this up and we'll look at it together. Because like you got me really curious now. Pipe Dream. Integrate APIs in seconds. Connect APIs, AIs, databases, and more. Okay, so I have not seen this before. Like this, even looking at the site, this doesn't ring a bell. But like, yeah, this looks really interesting. And let's see, are they actually fully open source? Let me look at this. This is the first thing I always look at for any project: is it actually fully open source? Because sometimes it'll be like the MCP server is open source, but the tool isn't, something like that. Let's see here. Scroll down. It's an integrated platform for developers. Provides a free hosted platform for connecting apps and developing event-driven automations. Okay, so is it actually kind of like N8N, but maybe like more specifically for MCP support? Let's see. I mean, it looks really cool. Okay, I mean, I have to take back what I told you, because when you first mentioned Pipe Dream, I just gave you like more generic, like, oh, here's my warning against like being locked in, like vendor lock-in. That's why I prefer open source. I just kind of assumed Pipe Dream wasn't open source, because usually people know that like I love open source so much that they always share open source stuff with me. So when I hadn't heard of Pipe Dream before, I just made the assumption it wasn't open source. So that's my bad. I'm sorry that I assumed that. This actually looks extremely cool, like even worthy of a video on my channel potentially. So yeah, thanks for sharing this. I would say like this. I mean, obviously this is just a very off the cuff analysis based on looking at the README, but I would say this definitely looks worth using. Like this looks amazing. It seems to overlap a lot with what you could do with things like AI, or not AI. Wow, with N8N and other tools like Flowise and Langflow. But it looks really cool. So I guess I'd be curious to like do a dive into what specifically you can do with Pipe Dream that you couldn't do with something like N8N. Or maybe I'm reading this wrong and it is actually like super different. But I mean, just based on like connecting apps and developing event-driven automations, like I mean, that's how I describe N8N as well. So I'd be curious. Let's see. I'm just looking at if anyone else has thoughts on Pipe Dream. Yeah. Keen said reading about Pipe Dream looks interesting. Yeah, I mean, it looks really cool. So here, let me go back to my face here. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think Pipe Dream looks pretty cool. Like, I'm impressed just looking at that initially. There's so many really cool open source projects out there. Like, it's insane to me the amount of things that people build for free. And like obviously they have a business model behind the scenes. Like N8N is open source because they get a lot of interest and reputation through that, and then they have their cloud offering, and a lot of platforms are like that. And so yeah, but like it's still like super generous and really cool to see all that. And I love focusing on open source. So yeah. Let's see. Oh, Jason said Pipe Dream is just the API aggregator tool. I'll send you mine soon. Okay, cool. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, it looks really good. Yeah, more donations coming in. Thank you very much. I appreciate it a lot, Fernando. Thanks for your example agent repository. It's been helpful. I assume you're talking about the Automator Agents repo. So yeah, I'm glad it's been helpful for you. I'd love to see some more examples with the GitHub integration, source code analysis, and generation. Yeah, definitely. So honestly, the biggest reason I haven't focused too much on GitHub specific agents. Oh, my screen froze again. Okay, anyway, we're back. All right, so all right, the reason I haven't focused too much on the GitHub specific integrations is there are a lot of platforms, like I think even Claude Desktop, and then others like Abacus.ai, for example, that are starting to integrate GitHub where you can just like hook in your GitHub account and then start chatting with your repos right away. And so there's less of an opportunity there to make custom agents to just like chat with your GitHub repos, because I don't want to build out things that I can just use in something like Claude Desktop out of the box unless I want data privacy. Like if I want to build a local AI implementation around chatting with GitHub, then that would be a good use case. But yeah, I think when you want to like build something really valuable around an agent integrating with GitHub, it would probably be something more around like automatically analyzing pull requests and having some sort of like automated flow to approve pull requests, like having an agent that is like the first look at any changes that come through, which that's something that I've wanted to implement for Archon, by the way, just to like help manage all the pull requests that come through, and just have an agent that like does a first look and maybe would even run automated tests in a way that's like more dynamic than just like unit or integration testing. So yeah, I think there's definitely a huge opportunity for more advanced kind of like more than just like chat with your repos, but actually like help you manage issues and pull requests and things like that. Yeah, definitely one of those use cases that I want to showcase more on my channel. And then also in a lot of like the workshops that I'm doing in Dynamis, I'll be covering things like that, like building out specific use cases, working with GitHub or other applications. Yeah, Kubi Jet, thank you for the donation. We need a coal bot. One coal is not enough to answer all the questions. Yes, very, very true. And that is one of the reasons that I'm starting Dynamis as well, is just so that I can be there more just with you guys constantly. So one of the reasons that I'm doing, like to be like very honest with you guys, like one of the reasons that I'm doing this Q&A as a celebration of the launch of the Dynamis community is just to show you guys a little bit what some of the events are going to look like in the community. And so I'll just take this as another opportunity quick just to show you guys yet another part of the platform. If I go back to our community here and close out of the course, if you go to, I'll show you the live events really quick. So we have a bunch of really exciting events coming up for the launch week. So I have exclusive events. If you join Dynamis right now that I have for launch week starting next Monday. But then the general schedule going forward is I'm going to have community hangouts on Mondays. That's going to look a lot like this, where it's just general Q&A and we just talk with each other. Like it's going to be a good time. We're going to all grow and learn AI together. But then I'm going to have 3 hours a week of what I'm just calling office hours. Like it's going to be kind of like this, but even to get more technical, if you guys want help with specific projects, like I'm just going to be there constantly, like multiple hours every single week, just answering any questions that you guys have for high level things, like a lot of the things we've been talking about here, for even diving into your specific use cases and projects. And like even support for like really niche errors, like the one comment that we saw earlier, the question about like the documents table not getting populated in N8N. Like I can't cover that kind of like really technical thing in a live stream, but I would do that in an office hour. And so yeah, that's one of the big things that I've got for Dynamis. And then every Friday I'm also going, or at least once a week, I'm going to be hosting a workshop as well. And that's where I'll dive specifically into things that are a little too niche for like a whole course, but like building out individual agents. Like this week we're going to build an agent that integrates with GitHub, like we were talking about earlier, or let's build out an agent that can handle customer support tickets and like manage our inbox, and things like that. And so like getting really specific with the kind of things that like I just can't do on my YouTube channel. Like I'll basically never make a video where it's like, let's dive really, really deep into building out a super specific agent, because that's the kind of thing where like it takes a long time. That needs to be more of like an event, like a live workshop versus a video. And so there's just like a lot more that we get to cover there that I can't really cover on my channel. So yeah, and to what you're saying there, Kubi Jet, like having the office hours is a way to not really make a coal bot, but make it so that at least this one coal right here can help answer more questions. So yeah, that's the plan for Dynamis, and one of the big parts of why I'm starting it. Because I just want to give a way to go deeper with you guys, and really I'll keep posting so much content on my channel. I'm not going to slow down with the resources or continuing with open source projects, but I am going to be diving deeper in Dynamis. Very naturally, just that's what the community is going to enable for us. Yeah, let's see. Oh, here, let me show this one first. Just signed up for Dynamis, looking at Archon as a starting point to write an MCP to assist with writing code for Ballplan and need a new data lakehouse platform. Yeah, that looks like you're working on some really cool stuff. I actually am not familiar with Ballplan. So yeah, but I'm very appreciative that you're looking to use Archon to help you with that. So that's really cool. In addition to the Context 7 MCP. Yeah, Context 7. Yeah, that I was blown away when I saw that, honestly. And like I said, Context 7 it's kind of experimental right now. And it's not fully open source. Like you have the open source MCP server, but then it's just hitting like a hidden API or like an API endpoint with a hidden implementation under the hood. But just like that kind of idea, I think is going to blow up. And there's going to be so many different things like Context 7 that come out in the near future. And maybe even something that I would build myself, or like I said, kind of transition Archon into something more like that. Maybe keeping some of the more agentic workflow stuff, but then also having it be more of a general bot as well for RAG. So yeah, a lot of ideas that I have. I can go on and on and on about that, and some of the things I've been thinking about for Archon. Really exciting stuff. Yeah, wow. Okay, I really appreciate the donations, guys. There are a lot of donations coming in here. Um, yeah, like Keen, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm just trying to scroll through and make sure I do not miss any of these because I'm very appreciative. Let's see here. Oh, another one from Keen. Do you have time in your busy schedule to do some advice on my SaaS build? Yeah, I mean, I definitely do. Though I will be pretty dedicated to just handling support within the Dynamous community. So if you're interested in joining the Dynamous community, then like I would love to help you out. Outside of that, I don't necessarily just like open up my calendar for anyone to schedule things because of how busy I am. But I mean, I would certainly love to help out. Let's see, another question. Another donation. Thank you very much for the donation. What, according to you, is the best way to talk to a PDF book, extract specific insights, and use LLM to see how we can use them in the real world? So if it's like very simply just chat with a PDF, for that kind of like very basic use case, there's usually not a reason to build your own agent. Like you can just throw those PDFs into something like Claude Desktop or just like chatgpt.com. So unless there's like some really specific way that you want your agent to work with the knowledge in the PDF and maybe extract and synthesize information in a really specific way or build some kind of more advanced agentic workflow, then I would just use something out of the box like Claude Desktop to talk to your PDF. Obviously, as long as it's not extremely massive, because that's when you might need to build something more custom to be able to handle super large documents. But that's what I would say there. Thank you very much for the donation. Really appreciate all your content. Can you also share how you evaluate and improve RAG agents? Yeah, so spoiler, I'm going to be talking more about that in a later module in the AI Agent Mastery course in Dynamous. There are a lot of really powerful libraries out there to help you with evaluating your agents. And so LangFuse that I covered recently on my channel is a very powerful open source tool. And I focused very specifically here. I'll share my screen quick. I think this is worth sharing my screen really quickly here. So let me go back here and I'll just go to langfuse.com. So I focus very specifically on how LangFuse can help you with tracing, like basically just watching all the actions that your agents are taking and watching for failures. But you can also use it for evaluation, and it's not specific to RAG, but you can in general just like set up these benchmarks for like what kind of responses you expect from your agent, which could be around your knowledge base and RAG retrieval. And you can evaluate your agents based on how it performs based on like some predefined data set that you have, like expectations that you have for the LLM. And you can do things like LLM as a judge, where you have another large language model that evaluates the answer and it determines like, okay, does it seem like it actually retrieved relevant context to answer this question? So you have that kind of thing. The other way that I like to evaluate LLMs for RAG specifically, let me switch back to me here, is using another library called, or framework called Ragos. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that exactly right. It's just RAGAS. That's something I'm going to be covering specifically in Dynamis. So yeah, that's a really powerful library, very specifically for evaluating RAG agents. And then as far as like how to actually improve the agents when these frameworks like show you that like it's messing up, a lot of it comes down to actually more often than not your chunking strategy. And then also like implementing tools like agentic RAG or building a knowledge graph on top. Like in general, you have these ideas of like, okay, these are ways to improve RAG with like query expansion or re-ranking, and you just want to implement those if your evaluations are telling you that you really need that. And a lot of it depends on your use case, what kind of strategies are actually best for accurate RAG. So yeah. Thank you, Fred, for the donation. I appreciate it a lot. You guys are going nuts with these. That means a lot to me. So yeah, you are very welcome for everything for the AI community. It is my pleasure. And man, I wake up every day just excited to work with you guys and share my knowledge with you guys. Yeah, I mean, every single day I'm trying my best just to keep up with everything, both like more high level stuff and then also like how can we build effective AI agents and things, and like making sure that I'm always up to date on strategies and refining my own processes and sharing that with you. So yeah, it's always a pleasure. Yeah, what do you think about simple personality agents? Like for example, an agent for psychology that remembers the user and talks like a real person. So I think we're starting to get there where agents are able to do that. And especially the most important thing for agents like this, where it really has to be personalized to a user, is you need that long-term memory. And so I've covered that a lot on my channel with things like Mem0, an open source library that allows agents to store these memories and retrieve them for later conversations to really have that context around a user. And you can segregate these memories by user. It's one of the more powerful things that makes it work well for this kind of use case, where you have one agent that needs to be able to remember things specifically for each individual users in different conversations that you have. And so, yeah, I would definitely look into using long-term memory frameworks to build something like this, but it's definitely possible. And then the other big thing is for your system prompt, like that's your main place to describe to the agent how you want it to behave and the kind of tone that you want it to have. And so when you want to have an agent that's more conversational, like having more of that at least seemingly human touch, a lot of that is through the system prompt. And then you can also get deep into like fine tuning LLMs, because that's another good way to really establish like the behavior and tone for an agent. But I mean, that's obviously more advanced if you really want to get into that. But that's, if you have a long-term memory fine-tuned LLM, that's when you really start to get that personal touch. That would make this kind of agent really, really robust. Also, there are so many donations that it's hard for me to get to the comments that are not donations right now. And like, I mean, I obviously like appreciate the donations and I owe it to them to show those comments, but I will try to get to other ones as well, I promise. But yeah, there's just so much right now, which I appreciate very much, guys. Yeah, thank you very much for your donation. What else do we got here? Joined this morning. Thank you very much for your donation, Jay, and for joining the community. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you. And Jay, thank you very much for just your constant support on my channel with all your comments and things. And that means a lot. Like to me, guys, like not just like being here in the stream, watching my content, like being in Dynamous, like all that means a lot to me. Even like just like dropping really nice comments on my channel, like that means the world to me as well. I mean, so like any kind of engagement that you guys have on my videos, like that helps it reach more people, and it just means a lot to me. It motivates me as well. So yeah, thank you very much. Keen, joining Dynamous as we speak. Love to talk to you about my SaaS. All right, I appreciate it, Keen, and I would love to talk to you. And one of the things that I don't get to do enough right now because I'm so busy with my channel is just like talk to people about their specific use cases. And I get emails and things like that a lot, and I try to reply to those, and like I really try to put time into like understanding exactly what they're trying to build and what their pain points are. But yeah, I certainly don't get to like dive in enough with like really specific use cases with people. And so that's one of the things I actually am looking forward to the most in Dynamis, is just being able to like have these conversations like with you, Keen, and just like diving into what you're building and any kind of way that I can give like higher level support to help you with what you're making. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, just joined Dynamis as a founding member. Thank you very much, Nod. I appreciate it. Tried Archon, but when parsing the documents, I ran into errors. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different errors that could happen, so I'd have to look into that with you. Generally, when you have errors with the whole documentation scraping part of it, it's usually because of something that isn't quite configured right in the environment variables. Especially with local AI, I think there might be a bug specifically with Olama that I need to look into. So maybe if you're using Olama, it could be that. But yeah, I'd have to know more specifically what you're looking into. Yeah, but yeah, and as far as the second part of your question, with the docs and context 7, if using Archon, if Archon is still needed, and this kind of gets into why I'm thinking about maybe transitioning Archon into more of like a general RAG agent, kind of like Context 7, but having the power of agentic workflows under the hood if you still want, and then being able to run it locally as well. I think Context 7 is cool, but a little dangerous that like it's not actually open source. But I want Archon to be like kind of like Context 7, but open source. However, there still is a reason to use Archon overall, because it has a full agentic workflow behind the scenes where it uses the reasoning LLM to create that initial scope for the agent, and then it has the coding LLM that has a lot of system prompting specifically for building agents with Pydantic AI currently, and then it has those refiner agents that work specifically on the prompts and the tools and the agent definition. And so there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than what you just have with an AI IDE like Windsurf or Cursor that's using Context 7. But yeah, I mean, besides that, like definitely Context 7 does diminish the value a little bit. But I mean, I still think there's a place for Archon. Like the whole idea of having multiple agents working behind the scenes to create an agent is very powerful. And there's still a lot of opportunity with that. So yeah, good question though. Okay, so at this point, no more donations coming through, so I'm gonna kind of like scroll up and try to look at some other comments here. And because there's so many amazing questions right now, and I appreciate it a lot, guys. Like I really, really do. Um, I I want to try to call out the questions that I think like would apply to a lot of people. So that's going to be my strategy right now. So if you have any like really specific questions that I feel like wouldn't really like be super applicable to many people, I apologize. I will probably have to skip over those. But yeah, like I said, trust me, I wish I could answer every single comment in excruciating detail because I'm just that kind of person. Like when I see somebody, I have an opportunity to help them and answer their question. I wish I could dedicate an hour. Like if I was able to, I would spend an hour with every single one of you on your questions. But I don't have the time. That's why I need an agent where I can duplicate myself infinitely. That would be so cool. So yeah, let me go through the chat here. Okay, well here's a really good question. Um, yeah, thank you for asking this because this is the kind of thing that this is going to apply to a lot of people. In what way is Pydantic AI better than N8N? Yeah, very good question. And so I do actually cover this in my course in Dynamis. I talk about this a lot because I start by prototyping my agent with N8N and then moving to Pydantic AI, basically transitioning the project to more of a production ready agent with Pydantic AI. The main thing with N8N, do not get me wrong, it is a very powerful platform. N8N will always have a place in my heart. I'm always going to use it, but mostly for prototyping agents and then also just building internal automations that I just want to spin up really quickly. For very production ready AI agents, the reason I don't use N8N is that using no code tools in general has limitations for the amount of customization and control, like just the flexibility that you have with agents in general. And so there's a lot of frameworks that you can't really use in N8N, like if you want to use LightRag or you want to use Mem0, and you're starting to be able to integrate these things with N8N because of MCP servers. But as a lot of us know, and I want everyone to know, MCP is powerful, but it's still in its early phases where there's a lot of limitations like security concerns and there's just overhead in general with using yet another layer within your applications. A lot of times you just want that direct integration with your agents and the tools, and you don't want MCP as that middleman that slows things down and just adds more complexity. And so you can integrate a lot of things with MCP in N8N. But with Pydantic AI, you're just able to integrate more directly with certain libraries and frameworks. And then also you're able to scale your agents better. And when you code things in general, you're able to make things more flexible, like using environment variables. You're able to have versioning for your code base. I mean, that's something that N8N doesn't do very well. Is there's not an easy way to have like versioning for your workflows, unless you want to just like create duplicates of your workflows, or if you want to like export your workflow and then like put it in GitHub, you can kind of have versioning that way. But things are just a lot more easier to maintain different versions of with code. And then, I mean, obviously, Pydantic AI is just one framework for code, but it is my favorite one right now, just because it has a good balance between simplicity, like making it easy for us to build agents, but also not doing too much for us, because I don't like agents that abstract so much away that we don't really understand how the framework is actually understand or working under the hood. So I hope that makes sense. But that's a good question. I think that really that would apply to a lot of people. So yeah, let me keep scrolling around here. More using Coolify in your videos. I know, yeah, a lot of people mention Coolify, and I have played around with it. I think it's a really powerful platform. I actually tried to host the local AI package with Coolify, but I ran into some issues where because I have my whole stack with Supabase and then everything else in the package, I wasn't able to like configure that very easily in Coolify. So it ended up actually being easier to not use that platform as a way to host things locally. But like for more simple applications with like just one Docker container or one Docker Compose stack, yeah, Coolify was working really well for me. I was testing it out with some agents. So yeah, I think yeah, great, absolutely great platform, definitely. Um, what else do we got here? Oh yeah, yeah, Jay. I guess you already made a donation as well, but yeah, thank you for joining the community. You are very welcome. What is the best approach for handling multiple files for RAG? So I'm showing this because I know a lot of people are very interested in RAG. I would need some clarification for you though, because I think the whole point of RAG is to be able to handle many different files in a knowledge base. So maybe if you could clarify that, I would appreciate that. Um, can we make an agent to create N8N automations? Okay, I thought about making this at one point. I don't know, for those of you who are in my think tank forum back in the day, I made a post where I was talking about basically making bolt.new or bolt.diy, but for N8N and building N8N workflows. And the reason that I decided not to invest time into that, I don't know if I'm not totally sure if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm just gonna say it because it's been a while now anyway. I talked to Max from the N8N team. He told me they're working on that. Very simply put. So I think we're gonna have something like this at some point directly within N8N. That's why I don't want to invest my time into doing it. Because if I know they're going to make it, I mean, the N8N team, they're great. They're going to knock it out of the park. So why should I invest into trying to make that myself? Because even if we have to wait longer, I think it'll still just be better. So that's going to be super cool. I'm actually really, really looking forward to that, because if you can just like tell an agent what you want to make and just have it, like, it's probably going to be very integrated with the N8N knowledge base and understanding how to configure all these different nodes and do things like set up parameters and credentials. Like, that's going to be so powerful. And you have something kind of like that in other tools, like Zapier has kind of this like workflow builder where you describe to an agent what you want to build. But we all know N8N is better than all those other ones, and so we don't want to use Zapier anyway, and the cost is ridiculous. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that within N8N. Let's see here. All your agents are really cool. Thank you very much. One thing that'd be awesome to get more coverage is things like error handling, guardrails, request throttling, more enterprise features. Thank you for mentioning that. Because yes, I definitely do need to focus on these things more. Here's a problem with this though. On my YouTube channel, I have to balance covering everything that goes into building effective agents with also making sure that I'm producing content that resonates with as much of my audience as possible. For example, my last video on Langfuse for agent observability and monitoring. It's a super important tool. It is absolutely crucial to build production ready agents. You need to have a monitoring solution like Langfuse. But that video is actually performing very poorly compared to most videos on my channel. And the biggest reason for that, like, I know this from a couple of comments and also just from my own knowledge of these kind of things. Like, the video is not doing well because it doesn't apply to as many people. People are intimidated by platforms like that. They're not as interested in enterprise level capabilities. They just want more of the basics of building agents. And so I have to focus on that a lot more on my channel, because that's just naturally what is going to resonate with the most people. But that's one of the opportunities that I have with Dynamous, is I'm able to dive deeper into these things, because now it's not all about just resonating with as many people as possible. It's about giving you, like, you invested in Dynamous because you want to learn the full process of building AI agents. And so that will include things like testing agents, evaluating agents, building out guardrails, and handling rate limiting for when you build an agent as an API endpoint. Like, all those things that really matter that isn't as catchy to people. Like, I'll cover that there. So yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up. Yeah, let's see here. Wow, there's so many questions. I appreciate it so much, guys. It's just a thank you for everything that you guys are throwing out here for me. I appreciate it a lot. Do you have a community platform? So Circle, yes, the Dynamous platform is on Circle. That is my community platform. I chose it over School because I just like it way more than School. The way that it organizes courses is better in my mind. It has a more professional feel with a lot more customization. And so I have like my own custom domain hooked up with all my styling. Like, it just makes it feel so good. And School is known for its simplicity. And I think that's a beautiful thing. But Circle, in my mind, I was able to set it up to be as simple as a School community. So it has that simplicity, but also just a nicer feel. And honestly, I feel like more organization and options that I have for the course, because I'm making the course a big part of the Circle community. And so I'm just going to plug this in right here, because I just want to keep sharing this with you guys, because this is my big thing right now that I'm so excited about. If you go to dynamous.ai, the early adopter special that I have right now, I have a 50% discount for the annual membership, and then 25% off for the monthly membership for Dynamous. That's going on right now for the live stream, and I'm cutting it off at the end of the live stream. So get in on this now if you're curious on actually diving deeper with me on building AI agents, doing what it takes to build agents that are production ready, getting into these more specific use cases, all these things that I've been sharing right now that I'm not able to do as much on my channel, as much value as I provide on my channel. I'll do all that in Dynamous. And so that's what I'm really excited about. So I just wanted to give that again quick. And yeah, question on the course here. Does the course give access to all the modules? So I have the first 4 modules for the AI Agent Mastery course available right now with the launch of Dynamis. And then I'm going to have probably about 6 more that I'll release over the course of the next few months here. And so there's a lot of content packed in each individual module. So the reason I don't have it all available right now is because I've literally spent hundreds and hundreds of hours this year already just making the first 4 modules and then planning the course as a whole. So I have the full course planned. I just need to make all that content and keep doing things. I have modules coming soon for building front-end applications for our agents and deploying our agents. A lot of the enterprise things like rate limiting and guardrails and agentic workflows that I was talking about earlier as well. So a lot of really exciting stuff coming for that. Yeah, let's see. Another good question here. I build workflows and agents using no-code tools like N8N. So will it be difficult for me to work with Pydantic AI? So yeah, very, very good question. 2 things I'll say with that. Within the course in Dynamis, and then just also in general, like I'm not just trying to like only push you to Dynamis. I'm just saying like in general, AI coding assistants are so helpful for building out AI agents with code. And I cover this in the course, and also I've covered this on my channel before to a degree as well. My full process for using AI coding assistants to effectively code things so that you still can't vibe code. Like there's not this perfect process that you can use AI to code anything and never have to validate anything. But it helps a lot, and AI coding assistants can also help you understand the code that it created to really work alongside you to validate what was created. And so even if you're not super technical, you can definitely use AI coding assistants to help in that process. And one of the modules or one of the videos that I have in my AI Agent Mastery module on building agents with Pydantic AI, I give a full like 50-minute masterclass on my full process for using AI coding assistants. So you spend 50 minutes with that video with me, but then you save hours and hours and hours of time building agents specifically with AI coding assistants. And yeah, so that's what I would say. And then using tools like N8N, I mean, you still can build production ready agents with them. There's just not as much flexibility like I was speaking to before. And so that's why I usually make that transition. But depending on your skill set, you might not want to learn how to code, and you can just stick to N8N. And really, the 3rd module in my course is all about building with N8N. You can take that as a master class and actually use that as your primary agent, just building more on top of the prototype to really make it production ready. I mean, it is possible. Like N8N is a super impressive platform. The way that it's transformed no code from being just a toy, like other things like Make.com and Zapier. Like they're just super expensive and they weren't as powerful and they didn't integrate with agents well. And now we have N8N that just gives you so much of that. Like it definitely changes the game. So yeah, good question. Looking forward to your content on enterprise agent features and Dynamis. Yeah, thank you very much, Eric. Appreciate it. Please consider creating a Discord channel to complement Dynamis. I would maybe consider it. However, there are channels that we have in Dynamis that are more like real-time chat like you'd have with something like Discord or Slack. I feel like I already have that functionality. So I don't know if I'd really need to create that. But I do appreciate the suggestion though. I mean, it is important for me to make sure that I have channels that give more real-time chat. So it isn't just like make a forum post, but like you can just chat really quickly with people. And I do have that available. And there are DMs within the Circle platform as well. So in Dynamis, you can just have like private conversations with people as you're just networking with people in the community and collaborating on projects together. I mean, you can definitely do that. So hope that helps. Let's see. Where's the link on livestream for Dynamis yearly? Yeah, good question. So I'll just put the link in the chat again here. But if you go to dynamis.ai and you scroll down a little bit, there'll be a link to go to the payment portal for Dynamis, and there's both options there, monthly and yearly, so you can check that out. Yeah. And all right, look at this. Mr. Frank, thank you so much for your donation and for signing up for Dynamis. I appreciate it very, very, very much. And then Joseph asked, how do we receive the live stream discount for Dynamis? So if you just go to dynamis.ai, the link that I just put in the chat, that is available for you. So it's not some special link that I'm sending in the live stream. You just visit the page that I have there, and that offer is currently there. I'm just going to take it down later today. So that's why you just got to hop in on it now. And then if you, I guess I really need to clarify this. If you join the waitlist and you're a founding member, you have a separate link that's going to expire later, like within like 4.5 days from now. And so that will still stand. But if you are taking advantage of this last minute, offer that I have here for the live stream, then yeah, you have to take advantage of that before I take it down today. Because I'll just swap out that link to a different discount. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. Okay, another good question. So I love handling N8N questions because I know that a lot of you guys really care about N8N. So, yeah, this one. Can N8N handle when used as a backend for an app when it's scaled to an enterprise with a lot of concurrent users? So, N8N, like I said, is extremely impressive, and they have this ability for you to actually create what are called N8N worker nodes. So you can create a distributed architecture in N8N. This gets a lot more technical. It's not super easy to set up. But you can make it so you have this primary orchestrator N8N node that then distributes the workflow executions to these child worker nodes. And so you can use that to easily handle more than 1,000 concurrent user requests. Like, it is definitely possible. Super, it's very technical. Like, generally people use N8N because they don't want to code. They don't want to get super deep into like configuring things and deploying things, and you kind of do have to get into that when you get into their whole like multi-node setup. But they do have documentation for that, and so you can follow that if you want. And yeah, you can definitely make it scale, and that's the kind of thing that we don't see with other no-code platforms. Here, I'll even show you really quick. So N8N, I forget exactly. They have a specific name for it. Yeah, Q mode. That's what it's called. So they have what's called Q mode. And so Q mode is how you can configure it so that you have you have worker instances. That's kind of what I was referring to earlier. And then you have a primary orchestrator that's going to like build up that queue and then send those requests into the workers. So yeah, I actually have not worked with that myself before, but I've seen people who have, and they've like shown their execution logs where they have like 2,000 requests going at the exact same time, and they have like 6 different worker nodes that are able to handle all of that. So yeah, super cool. Another donation. Thank you very much for your donation. Will you create a video/course on fine-tuning a model? Would be great. Yeah, with the MEM0 integration for, yeah, what I think you were the one who mentioned earlier about like the more personalized agent. So yeah, one of the courses that I want to build out for Dynamis after AI Agent Mastery is for local AI. And a big component of local AI is taking advantage of the fact that you can fine tune the LLMs very easily with any local model that you want. And so that will be a part of that course, is fine tuning specifically. And you can fine tune other models in the cloud. Like, you can fine tune GPT, but the problem with that is it's not local, it's not private. So you have to send in all of your training data, all your proprietary data to the LLM to train it. And using the fine tuned model endpoints, like when you create your fine tuned version of GPT and you want to use it through the API, it's actually a lot more expensive as well. And so that's why generally fine tuning is more limited to just local AI. And that's one of the benefits of local AI. So I'll certainly be covering that there. But yeah, really good question. And fine tuning something in general that I haven't focused on my channel that I really want to, because it's a very powerful use case. A lot of times you can try your best to adjust the behaviors and tone of your agent in the system prompt. But the fine tuning is when you can really take that further, because basically when you fine tune a model, you're giving hundreds or thousands of examples of, here is a prompt, here's what my example response is, and it learns from that, all those examples, to really build up how it behaves and how it produces a certain tone. So yeah, really, really cool stuff. Which, yeah, I guess you asked that. Yeah, so you asked the question and then you gave a donation right after. So I appreciate that very much. But yeah, I got you covered there. Let's see. All right, another Archon question. Yeah, I definitely want to keep talking about Archon. Um, oh wait, hold on. Sites. Someone. Wait, hold on. One sec. Someone said the site is overloaded at the moment. Andrew Walters. I hope you're not talking about. Let me check that quick. I hope you're not talking about my landing page for Dynamis, or maybe the. Hold on, I gotta check this quick, because that's one of the other things that I'm super scared of about happening, is any of the sites that I'm running here crashing on me. Let me refresh the page here. Okay, things are looking good for me. So I don't know if it could be a kind of intermittent issue, or if maybe it was something with your internet. It looks good to me, but I had to check that quick. Really can't let that happen right now. All right. Yeah, I think we're looking good. Following your starter kit locally, it is outdated. Let's see. Maybe you can clarify how, because I've been working on updating it. Actually, a lot of changes recently for things like adding in lang views. Okay, you're in the UK. All right, gotcha. All right. Um, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, I'm just gonna look through the comments and find some good here. Also, wow, it is 10:30 already. So I said that I was only going to live stream for max of an hour and a half. But I think I'll do another half hour here because I'm just having a blast with you guys, like seriously. And I was kind of feeling that pressure at first, where it's like, oh, I got to answer every single question. But you guys were really supportive of just like have fun with it and answer the questions as much as I can. So I appreciate that, guys, and that actually really does help me just have a good time with it. So thank you for that. So yeah, I think I'll spend about another half hour on the stream here, and then probably wrap it up at that point because 3 hours is a very, or not 3 hours, 2 hours is a very long time for a stream. And I start to lose my voice. Like, it is really hard. Because when I record my videos, I go for quite a while. Like, it takes a while to record even like a 20-minute video, like multiple hours, just because I need to like organize my thoughts between each take and redo things a lot. But I'm not talking the whole time. But for a live stream, I am talking literally the entire time. And by the way, it feels really weird. Like I'm not hearing anything about my own voice for hours, just like reading the conversation with you guys. It feels weird, but I mean, I enjoy it. I'm having a blast with this. So yeah, I'll go for another half hour here. Um, let's see here. All right, registered as an early adopter. Thank you very much, Chen. I appreciate it. Happy to have you in the community. Site is working fine. Okay, that's good to know. So yeah, I was worried about that for a second here. Um, let's see, what else do we got? Yeah, there's so many good thoughts here. I wish I could show everything, man. Jumping on the course ASAP. I appreciate it very much. Only vibe coding. Cannot really do coding, but willing to learn. That's the right attitude. Yeah, because you can definitely start with vibe coding. You just have to acknowledge that you're probably not going to build something that's production ready when you're doing so, but you can use that as a starting point to get yourself comfortable and just slowly ask questions to the AI coding assistant, help it help you understand the code so you can really start to learn that way. And I think that we're getting to the point now with AI coding assistants where they're completely changing the way that not just how we code, but also how we learn how to code because we build alongside them and they have that expertise to teach us and we can tell it to explain this specific thing or help us understand this concept as if we're five, like those kind of useful prompts where you just like have it break down things in the way that you resonate with, and you can do that really well. Like you can use it as a way to teach you in a personalized way. And so yeah, I think that it's good to start like and as long as you have that mindset where you're willing to learn and you want to get to the point where you aren't completely vibe coding, like I think that's good. That's a really healthy mindset. Let's see. And yeah, another good question on this here. Struggling to finish projects, continually enhance my vibe coding workflow with integrating, like more MCP servers, like Context 7. I love it. Yeah. You have any tips for me and us? And I think really that goes to what I was just saying. Like if you're in the process right now where you're working on improving your flow, but you want to just like really take it to the next level even after you've added all of these integrations. Like really it comes down to asking the AI coding assistant about your project and just getting more of a context around what it's doing and learning through that as well. And so, yeah, I think that's super important, like having it help you understand what it is producing. And I think Windsurf, there was some AI coding assistant. Oh no, it was Lovable. Lovable released this feature recently where they have this agent in the platform that is specifically for just chatting with your code base. So you can have it build out the front end applications like you typically do with Lovable, but then you can toggle to this chat mode where it's all about just asking it, and it has more tooling built in, like it's more specialized for understanding and like indexing your code base better to have those kind of conversations with you. I think that's definitely something that we will start to see, and have already started to see with more of these AI IDEs and just like general coding assistants, that they're gonna have like a mode where it's more for just like helping you understand what it's producing. I think that's gonna be super crucial. So just focusing on that is just so important. What else do we got here? Oh wow, I have to scroll down really far. Um, yes, yeah, you're very welcome. Yeah, Cole has taught me how to code by watching his videos. I'm really happy to hear that. Yeah, thank you for saying that. Because yeah, sometimes like the code that I get into, especially when I'm getting into more complex stuff like agentic workflows with LangGraph, like I worry that like it's too complex. And I think sometimes it is, but I'm really glad that like I'm explaining things in a way where you can really grasp that and learn how to code. Um, yeah, you really need to understand the AI stack. Vibe coding won't solve that gap, and yeah, I agree with that. Like that's really what I've been saying, for sure. Yeah, another donation here. Thank you very much for your donation. The best way to authenticate to stuff like Google and N8N without opening a port to your local instance on the router. Um, well, I'm a little confused there because typically, at least to what I know, I think you only have to expose the N8N, like the 5678 port for N8N. And generally that's safe because N8N has authentication built into the platform by default. So you have to sign in. Like no one, any given person can't just access your N8N instance and then start working in your workflows because that whole port is set up to point to N8N with the authentication built in. So I guess I don't quite understand what you would be looking for there. Yeah, maybe there's something I'm missing, honestly. But yeah, like typically I'll open up the firewall. Like when I host the local AI package in the cloud, like on DigitalOcean, for example, I'll open up the port for N8N, like UFW allow 5678, boom, and I mean I'm all set because N8N has authentication. So yeah, maybe I'm missing something there. Like there are gaps in my knowledge. Like I'm not gonna try to always say that like I know everything. So I definitely could be missing something. It's yeah. Let's see here. You clarify. Let me see. You clarified there. I saw it in the chat in my open broadcast studio, but not in my other window here. Where was it? Oh, did you miss my super chat? Oh, okay, yeah, same. I just got you. All right, good, good. Glad I got you. All right, where it's safe from an authentication point, not from a security standpoint. Um, yeah, maybe you could elaborate more on that because I guess it could be possible. I think if you really want to have like utmost security with your application and you don't want to open up firewalls, I think it comes down to you really can't use cloud providers that need to communicate into your solution. And so like that's why like for the local AI version of the agent that I build in the Dynamous AI Agent Mastery course, I use local files for the file source instead of Google Drive because then it really can be run entirely offline. Which, speaking of that, by the way, for the AI Agent Mastery course, I show you throughout the entire process how to build the AI agent both for cloud AI, like using a Supabase that you pay for in the cloud and OpenAI and Anthropic, like all those cloud solutions. And then I also show you how to build the agent that is running completely offline using the local AI stack. So if you're interested in building agents for either route, like local or cloud I have you covered in a single template for you as well, which is another really cool part to the whole course and the templates that I offer with that. But yeah. Um, yeah, if there's a vulnerability, okay, gotcha. Yeah, so if there's a vulnerability end to end, then like yeah, even if you have the authentication set up, it's still a security risk. And yeah, in that case, I would say like if you're worried about that much, that like granular of control and like making sure that things are that secure, I would probably just use a local solution for your file storage. Because you could use local files, or you could add something to your stack specifically for storing files. Like if you wanted to add something for a blob storage, for example, like Minio, I think it's called. You could do that. And I would rely on that if you're that worried about security for sure. But yeah, Dynamis, let's go. Thanks, Jaren. I appreciate it. All right, let's see what else we got here. He streams too. Yes, I don't stream that often, but I do. I do once in a while, and I really, really enjoy it. And so I want to do it more. It just comes down to typically I have my content schedule of I make a video every Wednesday and Sunday. When I live stream, I typically do that in place of a video. Like I don't have a video coming out tomorrow because I'm doing this live stream and I'm putting so much time into prepping this and doing everything for the Dynamis launch. And so I usually like to have 2 videos a week. That's why it's harder to live stream because it's harder for me to fit a live stream and 2 videos into any given week. So that's why I don't do a ton, but I do really love doing it. So don't get me wrong there. Um, How can I use Cursor more effectively? So I've got a video on my channel for that. I have my full process for using AI coding assistants that I also cover in the Dynamous course. There's a lot of things you can set up to make the AI coding assistants a lot more effective for Cursor and any AI IDE, like the way that you can add in custom rules and the way that you can provide it extra context around your project through things like planning documents and task documents, adding in MCP servers. I cover all of that. There's a lot of good strategies that you can implement for working with AI coding assistants better. Let's see here. All right, we got another Archon question. I like the Archon questions. All right. Could Archon be used to create, let's say, 100 agents that all join a group chat and communicate between each other, like orchestrating and tasking each other? So this is the eventual goal for Archon, or at least making Archon into something that could allow you to build these kind of like massive agent workflows. Right now, I wouldn't say you could like do this reliably. Because I mean, like 100 agents is just massive, and it's not like Archon is this like wizard tool that can just build agents in one shot and host them and run them and connect them and everything at this point. But that is the dream. Like, don't get me wrong, that is definitely the dream, and where I'd want to get to eventually. But if I was able to implement that right now, I would be a billionaire. Like, like that's the dream, but also that is a very far-fetched dream that I hope to get to, but it's not going to be easy. So yeah, that would be super cool. Let's see, another donation. Thank you very much for the donation. Signed up. Appreciate it. Thank you for joining Dynamis. Building an agent for managers to query database information. Chat with a code base. Can we use RAG to chat with the code? Or RAG plus GraphQL for better to model fields and tables? Okay, so, sorry, I'm a little bit confused by the wording of your question here. But I guess like the main thing I'll focus on is, can you use RAG to chat with your code? And yes, you definitely can. In fact, AI coding assistants, when you chat with something like Windsurf or Cursor or Lovable, whatever, and you're asking it questions about your code base, it will use RAG under the hood to answer questions and like pull the relevant files and things to be able to talk to you about your code base. And so under the hood, these AI coding assistants are taking in your code base and they're like, indexing them. Like they have their own little RAG pipeline where they're storing it and embedding it for RAG. And so you can chat with your knowledge base, like your code base in that way. And then certainly you can make an agent to do that as well. Like if you want to make an agent that specifically will be able to chat with your GitHub repositories, if you don't even want to have your code base local, you can definitely do that with RAG. And I would definitely recommend something like GraphQL or just like a knowledge graph in general is certainly a good solution for that. Also agentic RAG, like being able to give the agent the ability to look at all the files in the code base and then like pull all the contents of a specific file instead of just doing that RAG lookup, like that more directed lookup. I think that's really powerful too. So agentic RAG, which I cover on my channel, I think is really powerful for talking with code bases specifically too. Let's see here. Another donation. Thank you, Mr. Frank, for yet another donation. Can't wait to really dive deep into LangGraph, but on the TypeScript side. Okay, an agentic web service that helps people more productive at work meetings. I love it. Yeah, that's super cool. And LangGraph is one of the only AI agent frameworks that supports TypeScript. Like honestly, most of them don't. Like Pydantic AI or Crew AI, Llama Index, I think doesn't support TypeScript. Like most of them are meant for just Python. So it is cool to see that LangGraph can integrate with TypeScript. And they have a lot of really impressive tooling built out for the front end specifically. And I think you can integrate it pretty well with something like the Vercel AI SDK to really have like a agentic behavior built into your front end. So you can have like, server code for your Next.js apps that are running LangGraph agents and things like that. So yeah, super, super cool. Let's see. Registered. Look very much forward to the Dynamous community. Yeah, you're very welcome, Carl. I appreciate it. Thank you for joining. Looking forward to have you in. LangGraph devs are cracked, especially Lance. Yeah, Lance is crazy. I think he's the one who makes a lot of the content on the LangChain channel, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I love his content, and yeah, he knows what he's doing for sure. And that's one of the reasons I love LangGraph is I really appreciate the team behind it. And there's this weird thing where it's like LangChain is kind of a mess, but LangGraph is extremely well organized and a production ready framework. And the biggest reason for that is LangChain was created so long ago when AI agents were just brand new. No one quite knew what they were doing. And LangChain was just trying to develop as many pre-built modules and tools as they could to help people get into AI agents. So it kind of became a mess because of just how much they were trying to like bridge the gap between a bunch of really random stuff to like get people comfortable building agents. But then they transitioned to LangGraph and they started focusing more on that, especially because, to be quite honest, it's just better for their business model. Like they're creating like a whole LangGraph cloud to host your agentic workflows, and so it just makes more sense for them to focus on that. So that's why LangGraph has really become this production ready, like really awesome framework. LangChain's been left behind kind of a little bit, like even the founders of and like maintainers of LangChain, like Sam Partey or Harrison Chase, like they've said like, yeah, LangChain's a bit of a mess, but LangGraph, that's the real stuff. And yeah, they got people like Lance that are really making it powerful. So yeah, love your background. Thank you very much. Yeah, I chose it way back in last July, and I've just stuck with it because I can't really find anything better. Sometimes I wish that I had something a little bit more like dark, just because sometimes with like my B-roll when I have like things pop up on the side of me and stuff like that, it can contrast a little bit with the background, but I still like it. It's kind of become my thing now, so it'd be hard to move off of it, but I don't mind. I think it's kind of cool. I like it. Um, what else do we got here? Okay, this is a really good question. Dive deep for a second here. How do you think the relationship between AI agents and human expertise will evolve in the next 1 to 2 years? Will we see more collaboration or replacement? So, I mean, I think it'll be more collaboration in general. Like, there's a lot of people that say, like, we see like the CEO of Anthropic, or we see like um, there's like Sam Altman from OpenAI saying that like there's going to be a lot of replacement, and like Jensen Huang from Nvidia, like there's going to be so much replacement. But I think they are pretty biased in saying those things. Like they're very motivated with, or they have ulterior motives to say those kind of things. I don't think that we're going to see a ton of replacement, at least in the next 1 to 2 years. Like there's certainly going to be a good amount. Like don't get me wrong, there already is. But usually when we see things like jobs going down for software engineers, it's more just because you have a team of 3 people that use AI to augment them. So collaboration, like you said, to do something that would have taken a team of 10 before. And so we do kind of have replacement in that way because it's just everyone is able to do more with the help of AI now. We're going to see that more and more for sure. So I don't know like how much we're gonna get into that dystopia where AI is able to take care of so much that like one person can do what 50 people could do before, or we start to see agents completely replace things. Like that's definitely possible. But man, like I don't know. Like I think there's still going to be a lot of opportunity just for like humans to have that extra touch for things that's just so necessary. Like I said, for like earlier when I was talking about vibe coding, like there's a whole process of software engineering. The coding, the actual like writing the code is just a tiny part of it because we have to understand requirements from the stakeholders and turn that into instructions for coding, and we have to document things and architect things, and like I think that's going to take humans for a very long period of time to really like actually have the necessary context to build things well. Um, yeah, let's see what else we got. Man, yeah, my throat's starting to get kind of dry. So yeah, it definitely is time to wrap things up pretty soon here. But yeah, I mean, like I've been saying, guys, I really appreciate this, and I just have a blast with these streams all the time. And so I want to take a break really quick just to talk about Dynamous another time quick. Just because like I want to keep doing these kind of things with you guys, and so I just want to share like how we can do that more. And so within Dynamous here, wait, actually let me refresh here. I think we just hit more than 100 members. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Thank you guys. This is amazing. We already got more than 100 people in the community here. So thank you very much. But yeah, it's super exciting. So Dynamis is the place for us to have these kind of conversations, and I want to have them every single week with you guys, and that's what I'm going to do. And like I said, it's hard to do that on my channel, and it's hard to like really dive deep and like keep that constant flow of information for every part of building agents when I have to focus on the things that really resonate with most people. But I get to go a lot deeper in Dynamis, and that's what I'm really looking forward to. So Yeah, if you head on over to Dynamous.ai, I have that special offer for you right now that's going to go down later today for that early adopter discount for the community. So get on this now, and I just can't wait to have all you guys in here and just dive much deeper into mastering AI and AI agents with you guys. And I've got the course, the AI Agent Mastery course, live workshops and events where we'll go deeper into building specific use cases for agents and diving into the latest LLMs and new technologies and frameworks. Like, oh man, I'm just going to be covering everything. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that with you guys. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to give there really quick. But let's see, what else do we got? We got about 10 more minutes now. So let me just see what other questions I can pull here. Let's see, Stevie, appreciate your videos, Cole. Thank you very much. Looking at building a local memory plus context engine that indexes, also has a feedback loop with my online VPS to build a data set that can be used to self-improve. That is really cool. Yeah, like agentic workflows for like self-improvement or like self-healing, sometimes it's called, depending on what it is. Like that kind of stuff is fascinating to me. So that is really cool. All right, what else we got? Sorry, there's just so much. Like, it's hard to read through all this in in real time with you guys here. Um, any recommendation for embedding tabular data in a vector store? I'm glad you asked this question because I do cover this on my channel with agentic RAG. So, in general, RAG performs very poorly with tabular data. And the reason for that is usually when you have tables, you want to be able to work with all values in a column, for example. Like if you have a table that has like your revenue, you want to be able to track your revenue for every month. You want to maybe calculate the sum of how much you made in every month, for example. But with RAG, you usually can't do that because RAG is a more directed lookup. And so when you ask a question like, what's the total revenue that I've gained over the past 3 years, that directed lookup is only going to pull some of the chunks from the table if that table is big enough. And so it doesn't even have all the necessary data to make that calculation. And then on top of it, when you give a bunch of numbers to an LLM, it's going to do terrible as far as like actually performing the mathematical computations because LLMs suck at math in general. And so the solution that I came up with on my channel is actually taking tabular files like CSVs and Excel files and turning it into a SQL table that you can then instruct your agent to write SQL queries to perform that data analysis. And so instead of having to pull the chunks from the table, it can just write a SQL query to analyze something, like compute the total sum of like all the values in your revenue column, for example. And so, yeah, definitely check out my videos on agentic RAG. I cover it both for cloud and local AI on my channel for working with tabular data specifically. Because, yeah, generally you want to do more of that, analytics kind of thing with computing maximums and sums and averages and things like that. And then you still can embed tables in normal RAG if you do want to do a more directed lookup, like you're trying to retrieve information from just a specific row. And so my recommendation in that case is just to chunk in a way where you don't split a row in half. So you would just take like 10 rows or 20 rows as one chunk and then do that repeatedly. And so setting up the logic there to make sure that when you are chunking a tabular file, you don't split in the middle of a row. Super important. So yeah. What is your educational background? Yeah, good question. So, well, first of all, I've been coding my entire life, literally since I was 8 years old. And yeah, and I have a bachelor's in computer science from the University of Minnesota. And then I took a lot of like certifications for machine learning and AI engineering over the past 5-6 years. And then I guess this isn't really educational, but like I worked for a wealth advisory company for 4 years as a cloud engineer and doing a lot of like POCs with generative AI there as well before I left that last October to do everything that I'm doing with you guys here full time with my YouTube channel and now Dynamous as well. So yeah, people don't ask about my background too much, so I appreciate that question. What else do we got here? Oh, yeah. So, Jaren, yeah, I agree with this. I'm convinced that infrastructure and going to prod is where vibe coding dreams are going to die. I'm excited to hear about how folks are handling infrastructure setup and getting end-to-end testing. Yes, I agree. You can use vibe coding to build things, but AI agents, like AI coding assistants, aren't always the best at building very refactorable code, as in code that is like malleable and easy to adjust and make better. Are going to have like underlying errors that can be really hard for you to detect unless you really understand what's going on behind the scenes. And so you'll have these issues come up when users actually start using your applications and you have no idea how to fix it if you're just entirely vibe coding and you don't understand anything. And so I agree with this. And that's why I say like vibe coding is okay to get you started. And it's a powerful way for you to also learn how to code because you can work with the AI coding assistant and like I've been saying, ask it questions, understand things, and really help it validate what it's producing. But yeah, I do agree with this, Jaron. And it's unfortunate for some people, but it is an opportunity. Like take this as a call to action. If you are a vibe coder right now, take the time to learn what it's being produced, ask questions about it. It's not that hard to do so, and it can be very enlightening. Like if you can gain that power to really understand what's being produced, then you're unstoppable. Because software engineering with software engineers, people who understand code at least, with AI coding assistants are just way faster at what they do. And there's still dangers to it, even if you do understand the code, because you can kind of get lazy and not try to validate it. But as long as you do that, then it's a really powerful tool. Yeah. What else do we got here? Yeah, nearly 2 hours. Yep, I'm feeling it in my vocal cords now. But it's well worth it. It is honestly well worth it. Um, okay, really good question here from Roy. Just arrived. Clarify the difference between AI agents and AI workflows. Yeah, so really, really good question. And I do have a dedicated video where I cover this difference, actually both on my channel and in the AI Agent Mastery course in Dynamis. But generally what it comes down to is that AI agents are given the ability to reason about what they do. And so the number of actions that they take and what actions they take within an execution is going to differ depending on how it thinks it needs to achieve a goal. So it's what I call non-deterministic. Like you don't necessarily know what exactly is going to happen with an agent every time you call it. But with workflows, it is deterministic. You have a given set number of steps that you build out as kind of like this sequential workflow, and those steps are always going to happen no matter what. And so you might have a large language model as a part of that process. Like maybe you have some sort of workflow where you have a large language model summarize some information as just one step. But it's not an agent because that large language model is doing that one thing that the same number of times. It's going to always do that once in that workflow no matter what. So it's not an agent that's reasoning about what steps it needs to take to solve a problem, if that makes sense. So it can be just an LLM as a part of a sequential workflow. So it's all about the agents decide things for themselves. Workflows are always the same no matter what. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, good question. Let's see. Yeah, thank you, Brian. Thanks for your videos. Your videos have been awesome. Presentation skills have improved appreciably over the last few months. I appreciate that a lot. I've been working so hard on that. And it helps that I've been so busy recording content for both my channel and for Dynamis. Like the sheer amount of practice that I get, and I'm also a perfectionist, so I rip myself apart constantly. Like it definitely lends to improving a lot over time. So yeah, I appreciate you calling that out. Okay, I got a couple questions on A2A. So I think I'll address those and then I'll probably call it here. Because yeah, A2A is something that I haven't really talked about a lot in this stream, but I think it's a really powerful thing. So first one here from Carlos. In your view, will A2A protocol become the new atomic unit of intelligent systems, just like microservices changed software architecture? And I definitely think we are heading in that direction. I mean, basically A2A is just the way to turn agents into microservices. Like that is a direct correlation there. Because A2A, it's revolutionary in the sense that like we finally have a standard now for communicating with, having agents communicate with each other. But it's not really revolutionary in like the actual like underlying technology, because it's basically just like practices built into API endpoints. Like it's just turning agents into API endpoints. Like it's nothing too crazy. And so it really is kind of like making them into little microservices that you deploy in the cloud, and they can all communicate with each other. All these agents that are built by different people that can discover, using like that agent card that we have with A2A, what other agents are able to do, and being able to leverage them dynamically that way. And I think that really is going to be a new standard. And there's a lot of issues that have to be worked through with that, like with security concerns, and how do you make sure that the like explosion of unpredictability doesn't like completely ruin your applications when you have all these agents communicating with each other. Like there's a lot I could really dive into there. That it's hard for me to like word in a concise way. But yeah, I think A2A will be really powerful. And then another question that I saw related to A2A is, will Archon support A2A soon? And I I think this will be a larger implementation. Like it's not easy to build like an entire new framework, like a whole new architecture into Archon so it can build agents that work with A2A. But I do want to do this because if we can use A2A as a way to build agents with Archon that can seamlessly talk to each other, and like using the protocol to make it so that we don't actually have to program into each agent how they work with each other, but instead they can just like use the agent cards to talk to each other. Like that's going to be so powerful. So you can build one agent with Archon one day and then build another one, the next week, and then just like have those two agents like automatically start talking to each other. That's going to be so good. So yeah, I eventually would definitely want to do that. So yeah, I'm going to do one last question here, and then I'm going to wrap it up before I lose my voice. So let me pick up one last question. Well, I guess first, Richard just signed up. Thank you very much for signing up for Dynamous. I'm happy to have you in. Actually, another one here. Just joined Dynamous. I appreciate it. Yeah, so yeah, I'll plug the link one more time here just to end off this stream. I appreciate all of you guys that have been joining during the stream and even before the stream when I opened it up, like literally at 8 o'clock Central Time. So like 3 hours ago, I opened up the community and we've already got over 100 people in it. So thank you very much. That means a lot to me. I'm just so excited for what we got here. So yeah, this is your next step. If you're looking to leverage AI to transform your career and business, and you want to dive really deep into AI with me, the things that I am trying to cover as much as I can on my channel, but I just have so many more opportunities to dive into in Dynamis, like that this is for you if you're interested in that. So yeah, and like I said, I got a special early adopter pricing that's going to go down later today, like pretty soon after this live stream. So take advantage of that now. 50% off the annual pricing and 25% off the monthly pricing, and you lock that in for life. Like if you sign up for that now, like you never have to, go up to that next or like that lower discount at any point, because it stays forever for you. So yeah. Yeah, also appreciate it, Kubijek, my explanation for agents versus workflows. Yeah, and I know that like non-deterministic is kind of like a fancy word, but I know it's just like really stuck with me when I once I understood what that meant. So yeah, I use that word a lot to describe agents in general. Yeah. Okay, this is the last question that I'll take. This is a harder question, so I can't be like extremely specific with this. How can we use one AI model on our computer to learn from the answers of ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini? And so let me touch on this really quick because this is a super cool, super cool topic in general. There's this idea of what's called distilled models, and we've seen this with like R1, DeepSeek R1, where you use a more powerful LLM to train a weaker LLM. And that's kind of what you're getting at here. Because essentially what you do is if you want to create a large language model that's really specialized at coding, for example, you can have Claude or Gemini or whatever create a bunch of working code examples. So you give it a prompt and you have it spit out code and you validate it, and then boom, that's one working example. And you do that repeatedly. You can create some kind of automated process for that. And then you can feed that into a smaller LLM that you fine tune based on those results. And so you have this set of like, here's a bunch of prompts for creating something with code, here's the response from Claude, and so you can use that to then train a smaller model to kind of step up its game to like get closer to Claude as far as performance. So you can take like a 7 billion parameter model or a 32 billion parameter model and fine tune it from results from Claude to make it almost as good as Claude. And that's what we saw DeepSeek R1 do with all of their distilled versions of Qwen and Llama. And I know this is getting a little bit more technical, but they took these smaller LLMs and they trained it with data generated from the massive 671 billion parameter DeepSeek R1 model to make these distilled versions that are not actually DeepSeek R1, but they're trained by R1. And so, yeah, I could spend like an hour talking about that. It's a really fascinating topic overall, is this whole idea of like distilled models. So Yeah, super good question. And then, yeah, thank you so much, Jay, for yet another donation. And yeah, hear your voice starting to go. Yeah, actually, there was another comment earlier in the live stream that I saw. I forgot to show it, but someone asked if I'm AI. I hope that the fact that you can hear my voice going over time just proves that I'm not AI. In fact, sometimes people actually ask me if I use an AI avatar in my videos. And like, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like, either it means that I look a little robotic, or I'm just like so put together that it must be AI. Like, it's one of those two, and I don't know which. But I promise you that I never use an AI avatar in any of my videos for the intros, the mid rolls, or anything. Like, I don't use an AI avatar. But yeah, you can I can hear my voice going as well right now. So yeah, I'm definitely going to call it here. But whew, all right, yeah. Thank you guys so much for being here. I didn't even really get a chance to like look at how many people we had in this stream over time. So I'm gonna definitely check that out later. But I think we're definitely over 200 for most of it, which is super cool. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for everyone that has signed up for Dynamis. I appreciate all the interest in that, and I cannot wait to build out an awesome community with all you guys, for us all mastering AI together and leveraging it for real world uses. And so yeah, if you're interested in that, just head on over to dynamous.ai. And the early adopter pricing is going away super soon. And so there'll still be a discount after that, but it's going to be less. And so, yeah, get on this now. And I can't wait to see you there. So thank you, everyone, for being a part of this live stream. All your fantastic questions. I wish I could have gotten to all of them. I definitely would if I could. And so, yeah, with that, I'm going to sign off for now. But yeah, I will keep seeing you guys on my channel and in Dynamis. So thanks, everyone.